Hello, this is Michael Pucciarelli, creator of Still Life and Landscape Michael Pucciarelli YouTube channel. And in this short webinar, we'll be talking about, light painting with Photoshop. And this is like the second part of creating a light painting image. First part, you either start from Lightroom or Bridge. I like to use Bridge. I have presets so they sync all the white balance of the various flashlights I use, and then I sync all the properties. And then when I process the JPEGs, I get an image processor, but I make sure I uncheck the sRGB so that you won't have problems pasting in Photoshop. So here we are. This is a recent photograph I did, just a simple bottle of wine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable all the layers. Okay. So this is what you want to try to start with. You want to try to find a photograph that needs improvements from light painting. It's called the base shot. So then I make it a completely dark by doing what? The thing I'm doing is the slider down here. It's all the way on the right, you drag it all the way to the left. And there's an action that does this. I created. It's called make base layer. And I just, when I run this action, it's the first action that I run. Then after that, I use light painting paste. And so I'm going to open up a new JPEG and I'm going to make a selection. Loose lasso selection. And then when I paste, I'm going to use this action where I paste in place, and I change the blend mode to lighten. Every time that I edit, paste in place. So there are basically two steps to this action. It's paste in place, change the blend mode to lighten. Now, this next action, do the same thing, where this is what I copied and pasted, the same process, where I copy, Control C, and then not just a regular Control V, but a paste in place, where within place, and I change the blend mode to lighten. Now, all this is all the manual down here, the group, the layers, but I make a copy of this. I can either go here or just have an action to do that. And then I just add some quick adjustments, add a levels adjustment layer where I just clip the layer. You push, the Alt key, and go clip. Now, if I want to unclip it, then I would unclip it. In other words, if I were to clip it, you wouldn't see that slash arrow. So this is really just affecting the selection. And then I add a hue saturation. And I'm doing this to bring this out better, to make it stronger. Now, I'm not going to always do the double masking feature. Again, I open up a brand new JPEG, so this is going to look different. I'm going to use a different selection. And then I do that action, paste in place, and then lighten. And then if I'm using in light painting, I want to use a very, very soft brush. I'm going to bring down my brushes. I'm using a very soft brush. Very, very soft brush. And I can make the brush bigger and smaller with the bracket keys. And so I copy it, then I use the action, paste in place, and I always change it to blend mode. And I paint it in. Now, if I do too much, I push the X key in black hides, white reveals. Do the same thing. Open a new JPEG, make a new selection. This is a new JPEG. And then paste in place, blend mode lighten. I just paste what I want to see. And if I paint too much, I just push the X key and I simply take out what I don't want to see. So this X is a toggle between black and white. Again, so this would be a brand new JPEG. I make a selection, and then I painted what I want to see. And if I paint too much, push the X, take out what I don't want to see. Want to put something back in, I just push the X. And I basically do the same process. But sometimes I can turn this into the double mesh feature. If I want to bring up the floor, the tabletop better, and I can change the color. I decided to leave it in. So if I wanted to make it stand out more, I'd just do the double mask feature with this, similar to a group like this, where the double mask feature and I clip, a levels adjustment to bring it out. The same thing. I just, and I could also, sometimes what I do is I change the opacity to 5 or 10% to get a really light effect. And this is my clone layer where, hey, and this basically, this levels adjustment, it's a good way to make the subject stand out. And then I have, actions. And now I want to talk about my actions. Oops. Now, I have many actions. Let me bring my screen bigger. Okay. This is my general. I have a lot of actions. I have the frames. If we go down, let's see. If I scroll down, these are some of my latest actions, like rectangular gradient. If you want to put more detail in the sky, you could play around some blend nodes. You could stretch it. You could do all sorts of things. And this is dodge, burn dodge with the same, blend mode. You can change the blend modes. Sometimes I use that. And then sometimes I just like to use a regular, where you call other actions. Like this is calling the dodge and burn. And the dodge and burn is, it does actions, it does series of steps. And then I call other actions. So when I use actions, I like to use them in groups for quicker processing. A few brushes, I could just load up a brush real quick. Then there's light painting, where we talked about make base layer. That's the very first action I use. Then after that, I use, copy, then I just run the action to paste. So I paste in place, you want to blend, light and blend mode. There's black and white. Like for instance, I'm going to turn this into a black and white. I gotta bring my screen up. Oops. I'm not trying that. So I'm going to turn this to a quick black and white. And it's a separate adjustment layer. See how it changes? See how the red changes to a nice blue just to make it a different look and feel? So plenty of black and white action. I have directly command actions. They have fill actions. They have all kinds of fill. They have prompt actions. Will prompt you for stuff. They have single filters. And if you design my latest action group, I have a lot of designs where I could click on something and I can create a cool design. So then I'm going to push F12 to bring it back to the original photograph. Then I'm going to do a brand new screen share. I'm going to go to my YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel where I have many playlists, where several playlists really. We have a landscape playlist. I have an equipment and still life and light painting. Then I have light painting webinars in Photoshop. I have black plexiglass webinars. It also includes Photoshop. And then I just have software in Adobe Still Life. And then they have white plexiglass. It also includes Photoshop. So I have several playlists here. So and the name of my YouTube channel is Still Life and Landscape Michael Bucciarelli. Feel free to like and subscribe. My goal is to help as many still life photographers and landscape photographers as I can. Now I'm going to do a new screen share. So I have several ebooks on still life. Mastering Still Life Photography Light Painting is one. This is a book where I talk about all the equipment I use, and I also talk about all the Photoshop camera raw. So I have several chapters that can maybe help someone light paint. I have the same format in Mastering Still Life with the white plex table, Mastering Still Life with the black plex table. I have a big still life book. So I'm working on the second edition of the big still life book, and then eventually I'll work on second editions of all this because technology is changing, and we've got to keep changing everything we do to survive. I'm going to go back to Photoshop. So maybe consider liking and subscribing if you find this webinar interesting. So thank you for listening to this webinar. I'll see you next time.